Today is the day we celebrate our independence. Remember July 4th, 1996? I remember it very well. When I was 16, I went to America by myself from Scotland on Independence Day. It was a long way from Scotland. As I watched Independence Day in a movie theater for the first time, I could feel my heart beating in time with what I saw. There were falling cities, strange ships in the sky, and then President Whitmore stepped forward. His voice was loud and clear in the room. Everyone in the room held their breath during that powerful and hopeful speech. When he finished, "We will not go quietly into the night," there were cheers and clapping. Every word and beat sank deep into my heart, leaving a lasting impression of togetherness, bravery, and the will to live. Hey guys! I'm back! What I didn't know at the time was that Independence Day did more than just make over $870 million around the world. It was the biggest hit of 1996, but it also had some shocking secrets. The scene in the desert with Will Smith was filmed with the smell of millions of prawns. The script used to drive the US military crazy, and people in California actually called the cops after seeing UFOs. Let's go back to July 4th, 1996, to find out the shocking, romantic, and little-known facts about the movie Independence Day. The speech almost didn't happen at all. Today is the day we celebrate our independence. Before the big fight. His message was the most memorable part of Independence Day for me. I can still picture his determined look and hear his words in the theater. There won't be peace in the night for us. Every word he said made everyone feel like they could do anything. As a 16-year-old, I felt a rush of confidence and hope. The fight on TV wasn't just about staying alive, it also became a symbol of how people can work together to get through hard times. Not many people know that this scene almost wasn't shown. A lot of people were upset and even cheated when the filmmakers showed it to bosses. Some people wanted to downplay it, which would have taken away from the movie's soul. Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin had to fight hard to protect every word and beat, because they knew that if they lost this moment, Independence Day would lose its soul. When people finally saw it on the big screen, they had no more questions. The room was filled with thunderous applause, and Whitmore's words made hearts sink. Not only was that speech kept, it became a live symbol that turned the movie from a big action movie into a classic. What almost got erased became a message of hope, unity, and an unbreakable spirit that people will never forget. Did this speech from the heart move you? Say what you think. 19M UFOs came to America. People still get chills when they think about the strange truth behind Independence Day's crazy scenes. Get ready for the Operation Welcome Wagon scene. The crew chose to try a huge Sikorsky S-64 Skycrane helicopter with blinking lights of different colors. They only wanted to see how it looked in the night sky, so a small test was done quietly over California. But something strange happened when those lights swirled in the dark while the huge helicopter hovered like a sign from another world. The calls kept coming in. More than 150 people in Orange County looked up and saw the moving lights. They thought they saw something that wasn't human. Some people got scared, and some shook. Some stood still, as if they were waiting for a sign. A lot of people called the cops to say they saw a UFO, stating that a strange bright object was moving over the area. The cops were just as confused. They had not been told about any tests. When they found radio messages that were spread out, they thought a big event was happening. They let out a sigh of relief when they finally found the strange ship. It was just a practice shot for the film team to test the lights. Some people laughed, pleased and amazed that a helicopter could make everyone believe something that wasn't true. But for the producers, it was a very important message. Even before it was made into a movie, the power of the images was enough to make people worry that something bad could come from the sky. That hard night turned into a strange and scary proof. Freedom Day didn't even have to finish shooting. Whether you use a trailer or special effects, the movie had already created a sense of unease, which was exactly what it wanted to do. Did you know this? Say what you think. 18. The military was furious with the plot. While Independence Day was still on paper, an almost too good to refuse offer came in. The US military would let people use their bases for weapon storage, car storage, warehouses, costume shops, and even staffing. They would give the armed world on screen everything it needed to be sharp, real, and powerful. This was a valuable lifeline for a huge project like Independence Day. It guaranteed good visuals. It looked like everything was going to be fine at that moment. The troops read the script carefully, but one name stopped them right away: Area 51. The mysterious base at the center of UFO stories and tests that the government denied taking place. If support was to continue, the military said that all references to the place had to be taken down. This was not just a question of technicality, it was a red line. There was no reason for them to help with anything that could make people less trusting of state secrets. When Emmerich and Dean Devlin refused to change the script, all the doors shut quickly. The team lost the huge help they had been promised all of a sudden. There were no real military trucks, costumes, or tactical advisors on set. Everything had to be done again with personal money and labor. As the filming date got closer, the military's choice came as a huge shock and shook the team. But it also put them in a tough spot. They had to decide whether to change the story's heart or give up inspiration for strong support. In the end, they decided to keep the story alive, which is what kept the story's spirit of humanity facing the impossible. All of the blasts were real, even the one in the White House. The alien beams that destroyed the White House is one of the most famous scenes in Independence Day. A lot of people are shocked that this scene didn't use CGI. Real models were used for the whole thing. The team made a small copy that was about 1.5 meters long and had windows, doors, and walls that were carefully decorated with smoke, lights, and hidden wiring. High-speed cameras caught every detail of the real fireball during the blast, making a dramatic effect of slow motion. Not just the White House, but most scenes of city damage used detailed miniatures and real bombs. Every aspect of the buildings, streets, famous landmarks, and alien ships was carefully crafted, down to the tiny interiors of the ships so they looked real when they were flying. Building models vertically and shooting from above made it possible for smoke and fire to spread across streets, which made explosions look very big, even though they were little. CGI was used, but it wasn't what made the blasts happen, it was just there to help. Roland Emmerich said that using both models and fireworks gave him complete control over the details of shots that computers at the time couldn't make. Because of this method, the damage scenes in Independence Day stayed bright and real, becoming a symbol for the movie. And making people feel like the world is on fire in front of their eyes, as if the end of the world were near. 16. It wasn't the first idea to have Will Smith. Right now, it's hard to picture Independence Day without Will Smith. He played Captain Stephen Hiller with wit, courage, and charm, making the movie's funny lines and intense action scenes famous all over the world. But not many people know that the company tried to cast someone else instead of him for the part. The studio was afraid that putting a young black actor in the major role might not be well received by people around the world. This kind of worry was common in the 1990s. Dean Devlin, who produced and wrote the screenplay, and director Roland Emmerich were strongly against this. They thought Will Smith was great because he was full of energy, naturally talented, and famous from the show The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This made them think he was both strong and relatable, and his comedic roles helped ease people's fears about aliens. The crew even said they would give up on the job without Will. The company finally gave in after tense talks, and Will Smith got the part. Stephen Hiller's character made the right choice, which not only helped his movie business but also made it possible for hits like Men in Black. After that, Will Smith became a movie star all over the world. 15. The movie was not allowed to be shown in Independence Day became a worldwide hit. Aliens attacked Earth, and people all over the world went to theaters to see it. Many countries liked the movie, but not all of them were very happy about it. It had big problems in Lebanon. Lebanese public security watched in cut scenes with Jews in Israel, like Judd Hirsch wearing a kippah and leading White House staff and soldiers and praying in Hebrew. They also cut scenes with Israeli soldiers working with Arabs to fight aliens because they thought they might be too religious or political. Censorship mostly came from political and religious groups in Lebanon, especially Hezbollah, who said the movie was unfair and controversial in how it showed Jews. The authorities looked at every scene to make sure it didn't break any rules about religion or racial discrimination in films. Later, actor Jeff Goldblum said that the movie's message wasn't about favoritism towards any group, but about working together against a shared enemy. 14. Shakespeare gave me ideas for the speech. The word mankind should mean something different to each of us now. We can't let our small disagreements keep us down anymore. One of the most famous scenes in Independence Day is President Whitmore's speech, which happens right before the major fight. He spoke to the pilots, encouraging them to fight for freedom and stressing that this day would not only be a holiday, but also be known as the day people stood up to the enemy. This speech was based on a famous scene from Henry V by William Shakespeare. In that scene, the young king told his small army to fight a hopeless war by stressing honor and friendship. The writers of Independence Day tried to make people feel the same way: fear, hope, and power from the human spirit. The result was a deeply moving speech that used a style and tone inspired by Shakespeare to turn a scene from a movie into a classic. 13. It looked like the caravan was real. No, sir. I was just a little excited to get up there and fight the monsters. Independence Day is known for its big scenes of aliens taking over, but people knew how powerful the movie would be through ads even before it came out. One Spanish TV ad really scared people. This teaser looked like a spaceship arriving, people screaming, and a city being destroyed. But what scared people was the very realistic presentation, news graphics, and emergency alarms. It sounded like important music, and it wasn't clear right away that it was just a movie ad. Some people who watched thought Earth was actually being attacked and called the police news centers and even went outside to look at the sky. Once people calmed down, TV stations had to make it clear that it was just a movie clip and not an attempt to trick people. The film scared and shocked people before the cameras even started rolling with this strange event. People saw Independence Day and felt the danger and drama it offered. Have these movie trailers ever scared you? Say what you think. 12. Dolphin rings are all the rage right now. What is this? That's not important. What the heck is this? I think Jasmine likes dolphins a bit. The ring you see here is a wedding band. Did you see the dolphin-shaped engagement ring that Will Smith gave to Vivica A. Fox, who played his fiancée? The delicate design with a dolphin wrapped around the main stone was not only a romantic highlight of the movie, but it also amazed and thrilled viewers. The ring got so much attention that jewelers reported a short-lived dolphin ring craze after the movie came out, showing how movies can change shopping trends. It's interesting that the jewelry company wasn't allowed to make legal copies at first. They could have made a lot of money from this trend if they were. Despite this, Vivica A. Fox was allowed to keep the real ring, which she now treasures as a personal keepsake. Stores still make rings that look like they came from a movie, with gold dolphins wrapping around the center stone. This shows that the accessories will always be popular. People wanted to own and experience a piece of movie magic in real life after seeing a small item in a love scene become a big deal. Do you want this ring? Say what you think. 11. Goldblum made up most of his scenes on the spot. Many of Jeff Goldblum's lines were made up on the spot, which gave David Levinson more life and naturalness. Dean Devlin says that more than half of Goldblum's lines with Will Smith and Judd Hirsch were not in the script. The players weren't told to memorize lines, instead, they were told to think of things on the spot. This made scenes more natural, funny, and relaxed. In the scenes where David and Will fly the alien ship into the mothership, this is very clear. During these tense times, most of the lines, from funny comments to shock replies, were made up on the spot. Goldblum's improvised lines made David a smart and funny character, adding emotional high points to big action scenes. In the famous scene in the car, Judd Hirsch asks, "Slow down. Do you think Washington will still be there when we get there?" And adds right away, "Oh damn, maybe not." Devlin said that this was all made up on the spot, but the scene was still lively and interesting because of the real feeling that came from it. This kind of improvising not only showed who the characters were, but it also helped the movie stay popular over time. Will Smith said he wouldn't be back for the second movie. Many fans were shocked when Will Smith turned down the Independence Day revival role. The main reason was that he didn't want to hold on to the past, he wanted to move on and try new things instead of going back to playing Stephen Hiller. Smith said that he wanted to push himself with other projects, and his part as Deadshot in Suicide Squad, when he was asked, offered him the chance to grow in his work instead of just playing an old role for nostalgia's sake. Scheduling and timing were also very important. He had other projects in mind at the time, like Concussion and Suicide Squad, so he couldn't work on the Independence Day sequel. At first, director Roland Emmerich wanted Smith to come back to play a father-son pilot from a different generation. But when the script was changed to focus on a new generation, Smith's character was no longer needed. The lack of Will Smith in the movie left a big emotional hole. He said that when the Resurgence trailer came out and he saw that Stephen Hiller wasn't in it, it made him really sad and upset. As a result, Resurgence made 3 times its budget, but it didn't have the same effect as the first movie and was a failure both in terms of money and content. 9. The mothership's huge show of power. In Independence Day, the alien mothership was really huge. It hung over Earth, blocked the sky, and was in charge of the whole fleet of smaller ships. There were more than 500 miles of it and more than 300 perimeters of it in the movie. At the time, it was one of the biggest things ever seen on film. However, this huge size caused a lot of problems behind the scenes. At the time, computers weren't strong enough to handle the huge model, so the visual effects team had to break the ship up into several parts in order to move it and carefully plan the shots. Every part of the movie was planned to make viewers feel how big and dangerous the ship really was. The scene of the mothership moving towards Earth was sped up to show how powerful and dangerous it was. It became one of the most memorable parts of the movie. In the background, there was a lot of work that went into making the idea of a huge alien object seem real on screen. Oh, and the President of the US used to be a real fighter pilot. In Independence Day, Bill Pullman played President Thomas J. Whitmore, who was both a leader of the country and a fighter pilot who had served in the Gulf War. This part of the script was changed to tell how he was able to fly an F/A-18 Hornet himself in the last battle. A move that would have been hard to believe from someone who wasn't in the service. Whitmore didn't just tell the army what to do with words. He fought hard, which turned him from a normal president into a hero for bravery and real leadership. Throughout the movie, Whitmore's time as a pilot is skillfully emphasized. The audience sees the poise and confidence of a seasoned warrior when he steps into the cockpit and controls the fighter to fight the aliens. Not just an elected official making a speech. This not only makes the action scenes more realistic, but it also shows that Whitmore is a leader who is ready to lead by example and take the lead. 7. The strange smell in the desert. What the heck is that smell? I might as well have been at a barbecue. People remember the scene where Will Smith drags an alien across the desert because it was shot on the salt flats near Utah's Great Salt Lake, where millions of dead brine shrimp were lying in the mud on the lake bed. The players had a very realistic and scary experience because when the wind blew, the special smell spread all over the area. Don't forget the famous line from Will Smith, "What the hell is that smell?" The truth is that it was made up on the spot. So his reaction was as normal as it could be. No one on the set told him about the smell. In later interviews, Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich both said that the real smell made the scene more realistic and alive. What do you think about this fact? Say what you think. 6. The alien actor almost passed out. The aliens in Independence Day weren't just computer tricks. In many close-ups, real actors were wearing carefully made monster suits with long limbs, slippery skin, and big heads that looked like they belonged to a sophisticated but scary species. The suits were made with great care to make the creatures look real and scary. Behind their mysterious on-screen personas, stars went through hard times that not many people knew about. Once they were in the suits, they were almost trapped in a thick layer of material that made it hard for air to move and made it hard to see. It got hard to hear when you were standing or moving because the studio lights were so bright. Some actors passed out while they were shooting. A lot of breaks were needed, and they had to drink water or wait for fans and lines to cool them down. Even though the team tried to make things easier by using support devices and taking longer breaks, the suit still made people tired and stressed, so many shots had to be cut short. 5. The ending was based on the scene from War of the Worlds where the alien mothership towers over the sky and its weapons are so strong that nothing on Earth can get through its defenses. It looks like there is no hope left. But people refuse to give up. David Jeff Goldblum sends a computer virus into the attacker's mothership because he has a big idea. The alien's whole system falls apart because of this seemingly small action, which changes the situation and makes the impossible possible. There aren't many people who know that H.G. The famous story by H.G. Wells called The War of the Worlds is about powerful aliens attacking Earth and being defeated by natural bacteria. Independence Day updates the idea so that instead of bacteria, people use a computer virus, which looks like a small weapon but can beat a superpower enemy. This small fact not only changes the result, but it also serves as a strong reminder that sometimes the smallest things are the key to getting past the biggest threats. There were times when the movie almost had a different name. People think of patriotic feelings, the fateful day of July 4th, and people standing up against extinction when they think of Independence Day. But not many people know that the title was once uncertain and never a sure thing to be accepted. Another company had almost the same idea for a title and wasn't going to give it up. The team lived in constant fear because of this threat. So, they came up with a backup title called Doomsday. It sounded strong, like a world in deep trouble, but it was missing the light, the pulse of hope, which was what the story was all about. This title leaned towards bad things that will happen. rather than the sense of rebellion that the movie showed. When it looked like everything was going to fall apart, the director decided to stand his ground. He added a central statement by the president, a tragic climax where the line "Today we celebrate our Independence Day" sounded like a call to stay alive. The title became more than just a name with this sudden move. It was what the movie was all about. Because of this, Independence Day was kept alive as a promise to live through the coming darkness. 3. It took 4 weeks to write the story. Independence Day was one of the biggest sci-fi hits of the 1990s. It may be hard to believe, but the story was written in just 4 weeks, from beginning to end. Most films take months or even years to write the story, but Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin were suddenly inspired by a question after finishing Stargate. Did they think aliens existed? That question led to a crazy thought. What would happen if aliens didn't come to help, but to destroy everything on Earth? They worked non-stop until late at night on a story about people from all over the world working together to fight aliens. A story that is intense, funny, and encouraging. Even though it was written quickly, the story was still interesting and had some scary parts too, and some scenes were changed and made better while they were being filmed. This quick and crazy creative process shows that when a group works together, amazing ideas can come up out of nowhere and have a huge impact, making a movie legend that millions of people still remember today. 2. A hugely successful movie with a huge budget. Independence Day, which cost about $75 million to make, was one of the biggest big-budget hits of the mid-1990s. It was a huge investment at the time, second only to Waterworld 1995, which was thought to be the greatest movie ever made. Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin wanted to make a movie about a world disaster, with thousands of action scenes and huge effects that hurt a lot of people. With this much money, the team could do a lot of amazing visual effects that had never been done before. For example, they could destroy cities and make huge alien ships. Every dollar went into the smallest details, from detailed models to CGI, to give people an experience that was both beautiful to look at and emotionally powerful. As a result, Independence Day became a global hit, making over $817 million, even though it was risky financially. The big budget not only let the movie have amazing effects, but it also proved that risky investments in filmmaking vision can pay off in ways that no one expected. 1. Interestingly, Roland Emmerich, who directed Independence Day, did not believe in aliens. He even said bad things about his own child. Even though Emmerich is known for pictures that show aliens taking over Earth, he said he didn't believe in them. This is an interesting paradox. Most Americans and Germans think we are not alone in the world, and a lot of scientists think it is possible for life to exist on other planets. But for Emmerich, films were just a way to tell stories and explore big human themes like working together and staying alive. He even spoke out against his own movie. He agreed that Independence Day was not perfect, especially the story, which relied too much on lucky coincidences to make sense. Characters met at the right place and time many times. Many viewers and reviewers missed this because they were so focused on the amazing action scenes and cool effects. Emmerich didn't think these details were important because he thought the movie was mostly allegorical and that the message and feeling were more important than exactness or logic. This proves that a director doesn't have to believe in what he makes people see. When he was making The Shining, Stanley Kubrick didn't always believe in ghosts, and George Lucas didn't always believe in the Force. Emmerich did the same thing with Aliens. To tell a story about people, about bravery, sacrifice, and working together when things go wrong. Making Independence Day a culture icon without having to show that aliens exist is a good thing. After reading these 20 interesting facts, it's clear that Independence Day is more than just a big hit sci-fi movie. It was made possible by big ideas, crazy special effects, and a crew that worked non-stop. Every part of this movie, from the real explosions and detailed models to Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum's heartfelt performances, made it a classic that people will love for years to come. Do you like the 4th of July? Drop your ideas in the box below. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and follow us if you like videos with fun facts and behind-the-scenes stories about your favorite movies. Thanks for seeing it.